Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Union It's Time We Talk, Season 1, Episode 5. This episode is sponsored by Faces by Cynthia on 127 East Main Street in Spartanburg, South Carolina. So thank you, Ms. Cynthia, for being a sponsor for us this week. Today's episode is about the growth of Union County. So I know a lot of people, if you have any questions, feel free to leave any kind of questions or concerns that you may have, and we'll do our best once again to get everything answered. So today, before I introduce our special guest, I want to introduce the original panel as they're back again today. To the left, I have Ms. Tamika Wilson. To my right, I have Mr. TJ Booker and also Mr. Alex Tucker. Our first special guest is Ms. Andrena Powell. Ms. Andrena Powell is a Lockhart native. Powell-Baker was a native with over 30 years experience as a consultant selling products and services to mid to senior representatives to improve their businesses. She is currently a senior manager for community relations and development at Lockhart Power Company, Packard Milliken Utilities. She serves as an executive director with the Union County Economic Development Board, working with them to launch a business retention and expansion program. And over her 7 years with the team, their efforts resulted in over $300 million in capital investment and the creation of nearly 1,000 new jobs in Union County. She is currently the immediate past president of South Carolina Economic Developers Association and serves as the board chair of the Union County Development Board. Also, we have beside her, Ms. Curtis Hunter. She is the director of the Union County Tourism Commission. She is a member of the Union County Historical Society and chairperson of the Renaissance Community Organization. She is most proud of the Renaissance Community Park in Santo and serves as a committee chair on other Union Folks organizations. She has spearheaded in conjunction with local partners events in the Palmetto State Jamboree, a hunting event that draws participants from 36 states, bringing revenue and increased exposure for Union County, South Carolina. And the Holy Smokes Barbecue and Bluegrass Festival that included the Southern Barbecue Association Championship Cook-Off, the Show and Shine Crew, the Car Club Show, and performances by bluegrass groups. These and other events highlight local vendors and bring more revenue to the community. She also serves on the South Carolina Festival and Event Association Board of Commissioners for the Old English District representing Union County. And last but not least, I'll ask Mr. Gregory, John Gregory, who is the Vice President and Loan Officer of Arthur State Bank, where he has been employed for 15 years. He has a bachelor's degree in business administration and accounting from Presbyterian College. He is a deacon of his church, a Rotary Club member, and is currently serving or has served on various boards in Union County, including the Chamber of Commerce, United Way Advisory Board, Crime Stoppers, YMCA, and the Union Community Foundation. So we have a lot of people. So you guys have done a lot of great things. How are you, first of all?
Good. Fine, great, thanks.
We're so happy to have you here. And as I see just by everyone's resume, you have contributed so much to the community of Union County. So my first question for you guys will all be, and any of you can start it off, is when you look at the growth of Union County, how do you view it?
I'll take a stab at that first. So obviously my point of view is from the industrial recruitment and retention side of the business, because that's where I've worked for a number of years. Consistently over the last 10 years, industrial recruitment and business retention and expansion has improved significantly. I think you read in the document there, the capital investment now is over $600 million, which is a tremendous amount of revenue to Union County. The job number is well above 1,000. Back in 2009, the unemployment rate was in double digits. I want to say 21%. And before COVID, we were down to probably 4%, or maybe even a little bit less than that. So from my perspective of industrial recruitment and job creation, it's been consistent over the last 10 years and has actually, we've seen a lot of growth in that area.
And from where I sit, just in any given weekend, there are people that come to Union that people are actually buying property and moving to Union. A lot of people just do not know that, but it's happening, you know. for some reason, other people see more in us than we see in ourselves. John can tell you that, because they probably end up at the bank.
They do a lot of them, shockingly though, I guess not shockingly, but they're cash sales. They can sell a home up, you can sell a smaller home up north, you can buy so much more in Union.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
From land to the
It's
square
happening.
footage of the home for a fraction of the price that it costs to live in other cities.
Absolutely.
And that's
Yeah.
why people are moving here.
And to that point, in talking about economic development, we only talked about basically the tourism part of it. We haven't even gotten to the housing piece of the opportunity that we have to grow. We're not growing in that area because we don't have housing for people who want to move here. It's a huge challenge right now.
Slowly but surely, this year we've seen a few more people build new homes, not for primary residence, but like truly spec builders are building, a few folks buying them. The ones I've heard are getting,
If you guys are tapping on the table, the people can actually hear it. That's
Oh.
how sensitive the mic is.
Okay.
thought
We're
I had
actually
to
trying to
move.
start.
I've only been like 5 minutes already. Just go ahead and tell me where the
That's how
time out
sensitive
is.
it is. They can hear Kevin
Okay.
Edwards say, hey, somebody's phone is vibrating, and it was John
Yeah,
Gregory
the
tapping on
phone's-
the
I
table.
saw you move his hand, right?
That's all we're
I thought you were
tapping.
being dismissed too.
Yeah, no time out. But yeah, there are a lot more people buying homes here, people building homes. Values are the highest. 10 years ago, I never would have said that the housing market in Union is hot, and it's hot. I mean, it just, if you have a good home, fairly priced, you can sell it.
Ms. Honey, you said something when you were talking about people in the community. You said sometimes people see things in Union that we don't see here, the people that actually stay here. Do you think that's because of like fatigue, or what is it that you think people from the outside, when they come here, that they see in Union that the people that stay here, they don't see?
Well, it's just that when you're used to something, it becomes, you're looking at it, but you don't really see it over time. And I think that, I don't know if that's a syndrome that some of us probably have, but I speak to people all the time that see the good in Union County. You know, like we get a lot of hits, there's nothing to do. Well, we're not as proactive in some areas as I would like, we should be. But it's a work in progress. It's something going on every weekend. It may not be something you want to do, like, I don't know if you do dirt bikes or racing or hunting, but there are people coming to Union every single weekend, and that's new money, so I just think it's probably because it's just right there. Would you, Andrena?
I think so. I totally agree with that. I think maybe the assets that we have here are probably not as important to some of the people that live here as people that come in as tourists.
And the one thing that will happen, and I doubt if I'll be alive, and that's not saying too many years, because I'm on the backside of life. I'm here to say that. But the National Forest, you look around this county, or even if you look on a map, it's a big green, and that is going to be the saving grace for Union County, because right now it is happening. I had a meeting on Saturday, people who horseback ride, people who trail bike, people who walk through the woods. We had a group come down from Charlotte, outdoor Afro. Their history, and they were actually walking through the woods, picking up paper and just enjoying the scenery of the National Forest. And there are so many, and it was shocking to me. So I really feel that, people, all these woods, but it's gonna pay off, and I feel like it will pay off big, in the future.
Do we do enough of like highlighting it, those type of things when people come in, like you saying, something like that? Do we do enough of highlighting those events so maybe people here see those type of things? Okay, I didn't know this kind of stuff is going on, or something we can get involved in. Do we do enough of highlighting
Probably
those?
not. We could do a better job to get, because the events that I have gone to myself, as far as like outdoor Afro, walking out in the National Forest, I never would have And I enjoyed it, floating the river down, a couple of years ago, it was maybe 15 or 20 of us. We got kayaks and we floated from 105 Packlet
Put in at the pack.
put in at the Packlet and floated all the way to Lockhart Power. And when I tell you that's a highlight of my decade,
It's amazing.
it was amazing. Andrena had given us some sites to look for landmarks that you can't see other than floating those rivers. And now that we're getting ramp put in, it's going to be a lot of traffic that will go to Lockhart and possibly go up that Broad River now.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. Graham Williams said, Curtis, talk about the boat landing in Lockhart.
Where is it gonna
The
be?
boat ramp.
Yeah, the boat ramp you just
Yeah,
mentioned.
it's going to be the mansion.
It's actually on Canal Street.
Yeah.
So you go all the way into what we call the flat, and you ride up Canal Street, where there's the Fayette Mansion sits on a hill. I'm sure you guys have seen it. Well, it's right below the Fayette Mansion. There's going to be a cut-through road. There's going to be parking area, and the boat ramp. Lockhart Power has leased the property to the county
Right.
for it, and tourism is involved in the project. Lockhart Power is involved in the project. Packlet Milliken's involved in the project.
Is that something you can share with us and I can throw it up on our page as well as far as
Well,
the
it's
preliminary
Yeah, I think,
pictures? And
How will we find it, like online? Where will we go?
well, you probably won't
You
because.
won't now because
Yeah.
because we haven't started because the bidding, the project has to be bid,
Right.
everything has to be built.
Yeah.
And yesterday at the county council meeting was pulling the trigger as far
Right.
as
All the paperwork's
yeah, all the
signed,
paperwork.
all the entities.
So you've been working, huh?
Well, I have a question, guys. Let's talk about how do you two, the Union County Development Board and the Tourism Board, how do you guys work hand in hand to ensure the continued growth of Union County?
Well, there have been meetings that Andrena, being on with the Commerce Department, like when we were in Clemson.
Oh, with the SCADA
Yeah.
board.
Because really, tourism is economic development. It's an engine of economic development. Just like, say Carowinds, for instance. That's a huge economic development piece for York County and South Carolina. And the same thing applies when we have deer hunters or coon hunters or whatever come to Union. It's the same thing, only on a smaller scale. And so it is tourism is an economic development piece.
Okay.
And one way that a couple ways that we've actually worked together is just being on projects together. Typically when there's a project, whether it's a tourism project, a community development project, or an economic development project, the two of us are on these project teams together because we have limited resources. And she's right, tourism is a part of economic development, so it just makes sense that we're on the same project team together.
Talk
I
about
want to
master
ask, before
Yes.
you get the next introduction, I want to bring in John with respect to, Graham Williams mentioned opportunities for private businesses, outfitters, et cetera, as far as that expansion.
Yeah.
How do they tap into, getting capital if they want to start their business through, say, Arthur State Bank, getting some funds? Because we did entrepreneurship on one of our episodes. So how do they come to you at Arthur State Bank and say, hey, I think I want to start a business, but I need a loan?
When they come in, one big thing, you start off sort of with it down. A lot of people have a great idea.
Yeah, but
And I was listening to a guy the other day who does a podcast, probably one of the top motivational speakers in the world. He said to them, he said, a great idea is probably worth $100. Tops. I mean, if you have no capital, because he was saying that if he was going to invest everything in it, then it's his business. It's your idea, but it's his business. A lot of people want to start, and I listened to the Entrepreneur episode a couple of times, they want to start so big and hit the home run, and you've got to get a single. You've got to be happy with doubles. I mean, we look at the same thing with loans. It's the same amount of paperwork. to an extent for $5,000 as it is for $250,000. But obviously we make a bigger return on a larger loan. So starting out, you have to be willing sometimes to start small. You know, talk to bankers or accountants or attorneys about the legal ways and the best ways to set up a business. You know, accountants can offer a lot of good advice on that as far as if it's better to do sole proprietor, LLC, incorporate, and that sort of thing. Not something you have to do right out the gate. You can start out just doing straight Schedule C income. Yeah. So it kind of ease into it before you jump in too deep. But talk with them, see what's required as far as the paperwork, the documentation. Usually from a loan perspective, if you want it to be an industry you were already working in. Like we've had several people who work in, let's use trucking, and when they go out, they're going, you know, usually end up hauling for the same company they were working for. It's hard to just
Start out.
to just walk out there with nothing.
Have 10 trucks.
It's great. I'm glad you're hungry. If I was doing venture capital, invest in that sort of thing, or people who are Shark Tank, you know, I don't have 50% equity, but the bank's a little more cautious.
Is there an opportunity, you guys think, for us to have like a union level Shark Tank business pitch for people to invest in some of these
I
entrepreneurs?
absolutely think so. I absolutely think so. I was gonna make a
That might be
comment.
a whole nother episode.
I was gonna make a comment behind what he said about, you know, applying for a loan. You know, whoever the business owner is with the idea needs some skin in the game. You're gonna require that. And so if they can come to the bank with 2 or 3 or 4 investors with them, you're gonna be a lot more open to loaning them the money.
Very much. A lot of stuff I've looked at, even with real estate, some people have to start out with private lenders. You're starting out brand new. I listened to one guy coming straight out of college. He didn't have the credit, he didn't have cash, but then one of his professors made him a loan to buy an investment property. He knew what the guy had been taught, he knew his mentality. But if you put a team together of some people who can back it, you know, I'm either gonna bring the money or I'm gonna bring the work.
That's right.
I'm getting to that age where I just want to try to bring the money and let somebody else do the work.
I think, John, don't you think too that we have to, well, yeah, an incubator would be good, but I think we have to build our community from the inside out. I've been in this business long enough to know, and I've talked to more people than I can even count from outside the community, trying to convince them to come invest in Union County from a small business perspective. And it's like, you know, I'm investing in my own community. You guys need to find investors in Union County, and you'd be surprised how many people have, you know, a $10,000 or $20,000 investment that they would like to make in a business. So, yes, I would love to see a focus on entrepreneurs, not just when they come to John, but let's go find them. They're out there in their homes doing stuff. We need to find them and bring them to the table.
So I'm talking about, but holding that thought on investing, guys, right? Investing in Union. We spoke about this ages ago. Union County is the type of county that really invests in itself when it comes to huge corporations coming to us, correct?
Yes, I guess you could look at it
Right.
that way
Right.
in terms of internal investment, but we're not actually writing checks.
Okay.
We're not writing investment checks to industry.
Yeah, so a lot
Their
of people have.
incentives, their incentives are not cash payments.
Okay.
All incentives to industrial companies that come here are performance-based,
Okay.
which means they get the incentive if they perform.
Okay.
If they create the number of jobs, if they create the capital investment that they committed to. So it's not a just, you know, county's writing the check. That's the way it works.
Okay. Yeah, no, that whole setup seems like, you know, it actually promotes, you know, competition and also growth with job growth there. My last question about investing. We got a great representative for tourism. We got a great representative for the development board, and we have an excellent banker sitting there, VP at our local bank that's been there. What else do we need besides developing our inside talent? Do we need someone? Do we need outside states or investors to look at Union and say, "Hey, that's the spot to grow. We have this great Sumter Forest. We are an hour away from Charlotte. We're an hour, 3 hours from Atlanta, 3 hours from the beach. We're, as I think Tamika said in one episode, we're the pearl of the upstate, you know? What makes us that diamond?
Well, actually, I stole it from Strong Thermal.
Oh, you stole it? Ah, okay.
Well, I did say Strong Thermal said
He
that,
was.
he quoted that this is the pearl.
Yeah.
This is the only place that can grow in South Carolina.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's when he bought a lot of property up.
Yeah, we do have a lot of assets, you know, that we can tout to companies or investors that want to come here. But again, I still think our growth has to be from the inside. That's where we have to start. And once we demonstrate or have that proof of concept, then others from the outside start coming in. You know?
It's just like when you walk down Main Street and you see people on these homes, and if they won't go outside and rate the leases, they don't take care of their first investment. You know, it starts personally with yourself, being able to take care of that first investment. If you want to start a business, is your home ownership. You know, a lot of houses that we have here just sitting up going to waste. If you invest in that, then people will start looking at you and say, look, I want to be a part of that. I want to grow. If you don't care about your own property, nobody else will. And we have to look at union as that. We got to care about you and ourselves.
That's right.
And stop saying things like, there's nothing to do. Because I'm going to get a fishing rod and take the children in a minute. And they'll have a ball, you know, it's depending on what you want to do, you know.
John, you had something you want to
Yeah, I
say?
think some of it is doing kind of what y'all got to start here is having some conversations. What if I was thinking about starting a batting cage, and you were too, you know, now all of a sudden, well, I didn't have the money to do it or couldn't get the financing, but between the two of us, we can make it happen. So some of it's just being willing, you know, a lot of us are scared to fail. I hate failure, I hate to mess up. I'm probably gonna say something here and get put back in timeout by the meeting. But we got, so you gotta take a gamble. I mean, when you make an investment, you know, any investment, if it has potential for big rewards, gonna have some risk involved. You know, but
And
it's,
some of it is the fear and the pride of ownership. So, you know, this is mine. You know, I created it. So thinking about going into it with a partner may be intimidating, especially if that partner may be more advanced than you. You know, you have that fear of, are they going to steal my ideas? You know, that kind of thing too.
that's because I know what I'm good at, but there's parts I don't know. We've all got different things that I can do a part, but you can do a different part. Now you can build on it.
Absolutely.
And then another thing, when people want to start those little small business, they think when they first start seeing money come in, oh, now I'm going to take tomorrow off. I'm not working next week. And when you start a business and stuff, you're going to have to work. You're going to have to grind. You know, you're going to have to stay up when everybody else is asleep. You know, but they think that a lot. Oh, man, I'm driving the truck. They gave me $3,000 this week. We're going to the beach. We ain't working next week.
Yeah.
You know? Then you get 2 flat tires. They back it home again. That's what happens to people.
Hey, Juwan, I hope I didn't pull him out of the camera frame. He's still good? Yeah. All right, I'm all in the technical side. I do have a question online. It says USC Union Impact. Graham Williams is asking USC Union Impact.
Oh, huge.
Yes.
I don't want to monopolize the conversation about that, but that university, in addition to the National Forest, could take us to the next level. Because you have so many students who are outside of our community, their parents are coming here. I think there's a huge opportunity. So phenomenal asset for us.
And that ties back to the housing piece. You and I talked about how the university building housing and having students here is another revenue stream. You know?
Yes.
And I think we talked at one episode about if folks started maybe thinking about, hey, if I built a small tiny home on my property, I can rent that out to a student.
Absolutely.
And now I have income coming in, and that person is a good person. Because they're a student, they're going to school at USC Union, so there's some opportunities there.
Sure.
And even some of these properties that are abandoned, like we talked
Just sitting
about.
there,
Well, there's going to be, there's a group called RISE, RISE, and it's you may have heard about it. There was a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and they are asking both city council and county council to, like, there are houses that, well, I guess it's on the records who they may belong to or whatever, to push to everybody, like, say if I have a building on Main Street, and because everybody know Curtis, well, they may not bother me, code enforcement, but they're asking, we need to push to get these houses up to code. The one thing I brought out, and I told Carlisle, in Brevard, when we did that trip, Brevard, North Carolina, we did a trip almost 3 years ago now. And the reason we went there was because 20 years ago, Brevard was just like Union. But I tell you, if you're ever just drive up to Brevard. They have 5-star restaurants now. This little small town, John Catalano, when I was telling him about the trip, he said, well, Curtis, they have the, what's it, the Pisgah National Forest? I said, yeah, they had it 20 years ago. They weren't doing anything with it.
Right.
But people moved in, they have breweries. A lot of those old abandoned houses are businesses. People went in and bought those houses for very little money, fixed them up, and they have salons in them, they have different shops. And it's just amazing what has happened in that town. And the group that I just mentioned, they arrived from that, because the Friends of Brevard is who pushes the coding, that pushes the ideas. So Rise evolved from that trip. So hopefully we're gonna see some things happening.
Okay, so you said brewery, right? We don't sell alcohol in Union County on Sundays, right? You know those questions I gotta ask. How would that benefit Union County, like really numbers wise, from economic development, growth of our town, generating more stream income?
Well, from my perspective, I have to say, gosh, I had a brain freeze. The tax money that comes from any food or drink. Now, from where I see, to recruit a restaurant that, like say an Applebee's probably would not come because they're not able to open the bar on Sunday. You know, that's a loss of revenue for them. Now, I don't know, I'm not saying that, but I'm speculating that we wouldn't be able to recruit something like that. But on the city ballot in November, the alcohol policy is on there. Do you want Sunday alcohol sales within the city limits of Union? So,
You know that.
yes, it's gonna be on the ballot. But from where tourism is linked to beer and wine industry, it just is throughout the country, the breweries, the wineries. But during COVID, they've taken huge hits because most of those places, they have tasting rooms, and with COVID, you just hadn't been able. So like everything else, it has taken a hit. But I do feel it's a plus because just like say a really upscale sports bar would probably do great in Union. Because what I've seen with the deli is very busy. People, I have been at functions at Main Street Junction, like say a wedding reception, and people have actually come to me, is there anywhere we can go and have a drink? There isn't, you know, and these are not people who are that's gonna do anything wrong, but to create a better quality of life for people that come into your town, just like Newberry. It was just like Union at one point, but now you have the steakhouse that we love, Star's Place, yes.
Cabela,
Cabana, and then across the street. And the thing about all these places that are so wonderful, there was Newberry's Opera House. The citizens actually wanted to tear it down. Well, people know that.
They did.
Yeah, they were ready to hang some people up when they spent the money. The 10 million, I think it was at the time. Oh gosh. So we take a hit here, those of us who are trying every day with ideas, but you're never going to get 100% people say, oh, it's just wonderful. Even if it start being wonderful, we understand that.
Can you guys talk
Absolutely.
a little bit?
Well, I was about to say on that right now, you have people that Like, okay, I can get drunk Saturday, but I can't get drunk Sunday. I mean, I don't understand that.
Well, the thing about that, TJ, I hate to hear a person say, I drink myself, okay?
Yeah.
Right now, I could carry all y'all to my house. And I'm sure by the time you left there, you could be good and drunk. I have a full equip. That was one of the things I've always had. My husband and I, the thing, that's just,
I'm sorry, y'all go to your location and her. I'll get a little more chocolate. I'll get a little more chocolate.
Because you put money, you're gonna get number
but
four.
all I would say to you is I've had cookouts, parties, no one leaves my house intoxicated.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to be responsible, no matter, period, you have to be. And no one is, even if someone had gotten too high to drive or whatever, we would take care of that. TJ, I'm gonna take you home, or I'm gonna get my son to take you home. And that's what all of us, during the times that we, ladies of ours, we used to have a lot of social clubs in Union County. And I don't remember a time that anyone got arrested.
Right, that's right.
Or any of that during the time. Andrena's Ladies of Ours, every year they did the debutante. We did the ball, the holiday ball, the Saturday.
She was
The Saturday night.
She was presenting.
And there was always a full service bar. The Saturday night after Thanksgiving was our scholarship ball. And to my knowledge, I did not hear during those years of anybody going to jail or getting in trouble for driving under the influence, because it didn't happen, because people, you're talking about the responsible side. But yes, tourism is funded by food, drink, and then the hotel industry.
Well, you talk about places like, excuse me, sir. You talking about places like Applebee's. Most people are not going to go in and buy 5 beers because they like $8 a beer, so.
Right,
exactly.
You don't get that far,
Exactly.
My wife was telling me that, she was like, TJ, you're not going
Right.
when you take somebody on a date, you're like, I hope she don't want to drink tonight.
Exactly.
I think one thing we have to realize too is that people who live in a community make emotional decisions, and serving alcohol is an emotional decision for people to make. It just is. It could either be based on their religious beliefs or their personal beliefs or what have you. But as you do that is you increase your revenues. And sometimes you have to get outside of yourself and get out of your own way to make sure we reach that common goal.
I've heard arguments for and against, and the one that resonates with me as far as for alcohol sales on Sunday is the fact that would you hand your money to someone in Spartanburg every time they want to do something, which is essentially what we're doing. We
Correct.
are giving people in other counties, surrounding counties that do have Sunday alcohol
Correct.
sales, we're handing them our money.
Absolutely.
And the people who may even want to come to Union won't even come because we don't have the same capacity or capabilities on a Sunday. So people who are part of the Union, I call it diaspora, that have family here, who are looking back at Union and they're saying, well, I won't come back because you guys aren't growing. You're not doing the type of things I would want you to do in order to grow. And then the young man said that last time. Well, I got to go to Spartanburg for everything.
Right.
So kind of getting onto the young people, Loretta Sanders talked about, USC Union is great, but what is Union County doing to keep the students here? So college is not an option for everybody.
Right.
What else is there that we're doing? And we talked about entrepreneurship. What other things do you guys think we should be doing?
I do think we have to work on our quality of life. And I think it's amazing that people don't ask for a whole lot. I was telling one of our leaders, but they want to see something that they can feel, touch. Just walking down Main Street and having a nice place you can go in and have a sandwich or a salad or a glass of wine. That is part of quality of life, and we have to do a better job at creating that. One thing, and I won't say any more about the alcohol thing, a few years ago when Newberry County voted it in on Sunday, I was blown away. I was shocked. I simply was. So I saw the sheriff at a function at the Opera House, and I asked him, I said, how in the world did you guys get that passed? And he said, well, the same people who didn't say they was out in public, and they went right in the booth and voted for it, because they looked at the numbers, and it had to be that. And like Andrena was saying, a lot, whether it's your belief or your whatever, we have to think about what do we want to become? How do we want to make this happen? You know, and
You have to appeal to young people and what
Yeah,
they
you
want
do.
in the
Right,
next
absolutely.
5 to 10 years.
Yeah,
You know, it can't be, you know, kind of the old way of doing business.
That's right,
It's gotta be
absolutely.
some flexibility to
Mhm.
how people really live. Because if they're going out somewhere else and on a Sunday and having wine and beer, we're losing that revenue.
well, not
Yeah.
only that, just say for instance, this happened not long ago. On Sunday, if you go to Whitmer, I actually, I won't call his name, he's a kind of a coworker, he works with the city. I was on my way to Greenville, so I stopped at Foothills, and he was coming back from the Piggly Wiggly, you know, Piggly
In
Wiggly's
Whitmer.
in Newberry.
Yeah, oh, Newberry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's in Whitmer, it's in
Newberry
Whitmer County.
Yeah, Newberry County, and I'm saying, I said, what are you doing out so early? He said, I had to make a run to the pig. Not only did he make a run to the pig, he bought groceries. So that tax revenue stayed in.
In Newberry County.
So it's not like people are just gonna run over there and buy a 6-pack or whatever. Chances are they're gonna buy some milk or steak or whatever. And that revenue is in Newberry County.
Right.
So here's a number for you, and this happens in economic development organizations all the time. You're always trying to figure out where your money is leaking to. And we did a study several years ago, and at the time, there was $18 million in food and beverage leakage leaving Union County every single year. Over 18 million. Now, this was several years ago. I can imagine that number has grown since then. Can you imagine what this community could do with 9 million, or 10 million of that 18? We're not gonna stop it all from leaking out,
Right.
but just half of that would have been.
Yeah, even myself, I don't drink it, I'm proud to say, but I do, me and my wife do drive up to Applebee's. It's because we want to go to Applebee's to eat a steak or
Yeah,
whatever.
there you go.
We go up to Applebee's when it'd be much nicer if we had one here. And,
Yeah.
and I can still not drink if I don't want to.
Yeah.
And if we did, hey,
I want to pitch a question to you guys. You're our emerging leaders, and we've been talking about trying to create a group of emerging leaders who can take us or help us get to the next level. You all are it, and I know there are more emerging leaders out there. So what's keeping you here? Why are you here?
what she talked about, the country living, the forestry, that type of thing. Me and my son went out like last week to the rifle range. People said they're not doing that, they just practice shooting rifles. That's what I love.
That's what you enjoy.
I enjoy it, and family. My family's here, I love that. What about you?
Talent gotta come home. If you have talent and you have moved away from Union County and you're top in your field or industry, you should come back home and bring that talent home. That will only help the county grow. I could have went to dental school anywhere in the country, but home is Union. We've won championships by keeping our talent here. We're a very competitive town, right? We have natural talent in this town. And the reason why I'm back is to serve. Union's giving me so much, all my opportunities. You give back to what gave you, So, and it's also a gold mine for entrepreneurship. So just, people say you can't make money in Union. I argue with that.
You know, rich people live in Union.
Well, when we were talking about
There's some
investment
wealth
earlier,
here.
I had a guy that works for Edward Jones, and he gave me the stat, and I'll completely mess it up, but it was in the millions of dollars that people in Union County have to invest. You hear we're poor, you hear we're broke,
It's here.
but when we have a need, and I always use Miracle League, when they need to raise that money, they did like
They
it was
came up with
nothing.
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
people want to invest in. I was thinking when I was looking out the window and the sun was going down, I'd stay for the sunset right out here. I got distracted a few minutes.
Same thing. I know for me, it's about family. I've been all over the world in the military, and I've lived in a city that was 10 million people, and I've lived in places where it's 150 people. And I like the country, in the sense that if you're in the city, I've been in Atlanta, 45 minutes to go a mile and a half. Well, I'd rather drive 45 minutes than go 40 miles. So it seems so minor, but I think the biggest thing, if you've ever been to the desert, the real desert, in the Middle East, like the Sahara and that type of stuff, and then you really miss the trees and the green. And that was the only thing that really made me homesick.
Wow.
Was thinking about South Carolina and thinking about the trees, the green. Great places over there, great food, great people, don't get me wrong, but I missed being able to see the pine trees and the forest, and I was like, I can't wait to get home and be with my family and my friends and do the things that I love. And a lot of my stuff now is about community service. How can I give back to the community? What can I do? Because so much was given to me from my family and friends and through the military and people that I know. So bringing that talent back, I like to think I have a little talent. So how can I parcel that out to help people?
That's good.
I think for me, of course, family. Even when I went to college, I went to USC Upstate, and I like the fact that the area that we're in, you can still get to like a Charlotte or Atlanta in no time. So they definitely played a big part for me, and even that for me now that I have to move around a lot because I travel and do interviews. But I can't say that I'll stay here all of my life, or no matter what. I love the fact that I'm here. This is always be home, and I'll never talk down on it. Like I don't get why people leave when they say, "Man, I had to get out because nothing's there." This is home for me. So of course, I'll always come back. I'll definitely give back to my community. I always want to serve my people no matter what. But I do love the fact that we're so close to everything. But of course, if opportunity knocks, I would love to stay here. Of course, I like have to relocate. I don't want to go too far away if I don't have to. But definitely just being in this community, and no matter what, I'll always reach out and even get in touch with anybody here and say, hey, do we have anybody that needs something? Because I always lend a helping hand to anybody, and especially people in this community. But I do love the fact that we're so close to everybody here, like we can get anywhere. Of course, family always plays a big part for me just to be able to stay here.
So speaking on that, if you want to keep Cross the Line Podcast LLC here, he does have a Cash App for his production, and we will make sure we throw that up. So if you want to donate for this production, all the stuff that's behind the camera, Jawan is behind the camera right now. So please consider donating to this young entrepreneur. We want to back folks that are doing good things. So let's put our money where our mouth is, right?
And you can tell them some things that you can broadcast, ball games and anything.
I do a lot of what I do. I travel and I interview a lot of entrepreneurs from Atlanta, Charleston, Charlotte. Actually, in the process now, I made an announcement yesterday during one of my interviews. I'm actually going on a tour starting Friday. It's called a self-investment tour where I put up my own money. So starting out, we'll be in Chattanooga, Tennessee this coming weekend. But we travel all over and interview a lot of entrepreneurs. And it just came about for me, creating my own opportunity. I did a lot of broadcasting in college, so I had a chance to, interview a lot of professional athletes from the Hornets, the Panthers, and all over. And, of course, when you graduate, it's like lack of experience is what hinders a lot of young people. So sometimes you can get discouraged. So instead of that, I just went about, just saying, you know what, I'll just create my own opportunity. And so ever since then, it's been about a little bit over 2 years where I just travel all over. And this is actually the first time I'm doing my own tour. So I'm kind of excited about that, so I'll get a chance to, but the things that it brings is just meeting people from all over and hearing them share their stories of how they create their own opportunities and how people that they never met before just believe in them and, lend a helping hand. Those type of things will kind of inspire me. And then also with TJ, Mr. Booker, he presented this opportunity to me, and that meant a lot to me that he thought that much of me that he wanted me to, come together and join this panel and have everybody here sitting today. So it's just a lot of people like Mr. Booker that gave me a great opportunity as well. So it definitely is I'm always thankful for that as well.
Great.
So I got a question for tourism.
Okay.
As soon as we lift these restrictions on COVID, right, and we can all get back together and fellowship as a community, what are some things that the tourism board have planned?
Actually, I'm speaking to Jay today. Hopefully, we'll be able to bring in a big concert.
Wonderful.
Okay, we've been talking about this for years now, we and Andrena. I can't wait till COVID is over.
I know.
And probably more than you, because see, my days are no shorter than yours. And
Yes,
I don't wanna waste any more of mine. I'm tired, I'm ready to let's get to it. And like I said, the races, all of like the big bucks, you're probably
Okay.
not into those. The racetrack, have been doing really well this summer. And I think at the height of all this, there's gonna be some good things that will come out of COVID. So we're looking at outdoor venues, what's Jay's Farm?
Sunset Farm.
Sunset Farm, Jay that owns Midway Barbecue. We're hoping to partner with him and do a concert that would be recognizable.
A welcome back concert.
Yeah, yeah.
What about some singing, like on Main Street? What about those type of concerts? You know, outdoor.
Well,
music?
the thing about, well, those are, we used to do those, but when it comes to tourism money, when you're investing that, you're supposed to be able to bring people in.
From outside.
And the thing is, if we generate enough revenue, we would be able to do things for our people. But so far, we hadn't been able to just keep it going enough to generate the revenue, because you're not supposed to take tourism dollars to throw block parties for the community. That's not tourism.
That reminds me, your question of the depot, that's gonna be ribbon cutting probably soon. That's gonna be some of the recreation and entertainment plan for that is singing and concerts and that kind of thing, which is gonna be great for feet on the street downtown.
Yeah.
John, you were about to say something?
Well, with the singing and all on Main Street, a lot of it, that's when you need the restaurants and the bars. But
Yeah,
that in itself is not gonna sell tickets,
yep,
but it brings people there who can spend
Yes.
money, whereas if you bring in, like you said, a recognizable concert, now you bring people from neighboring counties, possibly states, to come spend money.
and we need somewhere for them to go.
Yeah.
So, then we used to have something that they did that was the pig out in the park or something that.
Well, and
the big
I
barbecue.
want to say even
Maybe on
last,
the Rock was in Carlisle.
Yeah, we used to do
Probably
that on
talking
Main
about
Street.
Uniquely Union.
Uniquely Union, that was it,
I'm hoping that'll come back. I hope to see that come back.
Let's say we,
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
Well, I will share this. There is an idea on the table right now, and we may run out of time while we're in this bubble with COVID, to try to do like drive-in movies.
I heard
We're
that.
working on that, but you know,
That would be awesome.
so in fact, we have a meeting on Thursday to discuss it further. We're gonna try to do a test run first before we do make an investment.
That would be
I saw
awesome.
them doing them in some Walmart parking lots. That's what
Super
it would
Walmart.
be.
Yeah.
Super Walmart parking lot.
I was gonna say, let's say we do have the revenue to do some more great things with tourism. Like, who decides like what we bring in the union as far as like those kind of things for people that come in and those events? Because the people here, they do pour money into this community. Like I said, we want to keep them here. I definitely think that people should have some kind of input. But who decides like what we do with that money, like events that we want to bring here?
Well, I really think people like you, like all of you, we need more input from whatever, the mayor's office, the county supervisor's office. Those are the offices where if you have an idea, you should express it. A lot of times people will say, well, nobody listens, but they hadn't really told anybody.
Right.
You know, I was speaking to a young man today, and he was talking about the forest, and I was telling him, well, he got so excited that possibly we're hoping that we can repurpose John D. Long Lake for camping, recreation. We're working on getting that up and running, because it is a beautiful lake that is just amazing to me to go by that lake and any given decade, and it might be one person or no people.
Yeah.
And it is because of the stigma, but we can rebrand it and change it. So I think each one of you, if you have an idea, you owe yourself to go and tell somebody. An idea is nothing if you don't share it, and you share it with the people who can make something happen with it.
Now, this is my wheelhouse, what he's talking about, which is getting civically engaged with these young folks. So what happens is you get a lot of the negativity about, well, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. But to your point, folks aren't actually going to the county council meeting. They're not going to the city council.
They're not.
And they're online
And they're
now.
online, they're
When you watch
streaming.
Exactly.
So when you get an invitation to do a watch party, if you're watching this video now, take the time, watch it, go to those meetings if you don't mind. They socially distance for the most part, wear your mask if you're concerned. Watch it online. Figure out what you need to do to get on the agenda if you have an idea.
And it's not hard to figure.
If you
don't
need
have
help
to,
with that,
just you call and
call any of us, all these people around
exactly.
here.
You don't have to figure.
Yeah.
Just dial 429-1600 is the
Exactly.
county, 429-1700 is the city. Ask to be on their agenda, and they'll put you on it. They will ask you what your topic is about, and if you have an idea, that would be the opportunity for anyone who have an idea to express it.
That sounds like they want
another-
it. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, here's a different layer to that, what Curtis just said. Find out who your council person is, because to your point, I think you asked the question, they make the decisions. They decide what projects get funded, they decide what
Absolutely.
happens. And so, to me, in addition to
Yeah,
going to the
absolutely.
county, find out who your representative is, get in their ear.
Yeah.
Get sit
Tell
down in
them
their
that you're
face and
coming.
say,
Hell,
look,
listen, this is like.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a, I mean, really, that's.
Yeah.
I'm in Bishop 4. I mean, I know all my
that's
things.
what they're there for.
Yeah.
That's what they are there for. And so you go in and you talk to them individually, and they help you make your case.
And one of the things, I'm personally involved in is a Meet the Candidates initiative. I need to pitch to this group, trying to get them, I know he's about to go on the road here,
Yeah.
but trying to take one of his ideas and expand it where folks can actually meet the candidates, partisan or nonpartisan, we don't care. We want them to start talking to people about what they're doing, what their job is, what their platform is. And guess what? Hold them accountable for those things.
Yes.
So you said you was gonna bring business XYZ to Union County, but you never did. It's 5 years later. Okay, maybe we need to find somebody else to do the job. So holding these folks.
I love it. I love it.
So,
Yes, you're fired.
So we're talking about.
I can text my, he might reply right now.
So, guys, I just wanted to.
Isaiah before.
It's 7:53 now, and for guys that's been following the show, we've talked about what will promote growth in Union. We've also talked about what is inhibiting growth in Union, and some of those things that we talked about has been alcohol sales, downtown more, building up with the Rise community, exploring our Sumter Forest more, the Lockhart boat ramp, more rates on, not rates.
We can't talk
But
about it.
right, what to do when going and talking investments with a bank, right?
Right.
This podcast has been such a great forum for citizens of Union County, and we still want you to chime in with your questions. But did we leave anything out from you, great leaders? You guys say we're leaders, but really and truly, you guys are in the seats right now, calling these shots. So
Well, I would just like to see more interaction from the public. Because the one thing that bothers me is, like one of you said, if you live in Union, this is our home. And I don't think, sometimes we don't appreciate that this is our home. It's kind of, you're gonna trash your home, you're gonna talk bad about your home. That's just like you have a bad brother. He's bad, but he's your brother. You love him. Yeah, and I just wish we had more of that. And nothing's ever gonna be perfect. But we can do a better job in saying, okay, well, I'm gonna do my part. Because I do feel that there are a lot of times people that complain the most not only don't do their part, they don't do anything. So I just wish people would come to the table, and maybe they probably feel they're not wanted, but that's not true. I welcome anybody, and Andrena as well. We have just embrace, come, because we don't know everything.
Open door policy.
Exactly,
Tourism.
absolutely,
Okay.
103 West Main Street.
103 guys.
And 103 West Main, and that's what I think would make my job easier, to just have we had, like the meeting I was telling you about on Saturday, most of those people were from Columbia and Irmo, that just, after they left the meeting around 11:30, they headed out to Rose Hill to walk through the woods.
I'm all ready, I love
So,
I want to get to your father's place. I want to see you make that.
yeah.
Speaking of the woods and different things, I know Graham Williams, he wanted to know about plans for Jonesville. Is that something you guys can talk about a little bit?
plans for the Jonesville area.
Yes.
Well, I will say they have an active town administrator. They have an active council. Town administrator is very progressive with his thinking. They actually just completed a charrette study where they hired a company to come in and look at what assets they have and what they can
And
be.
for those listening, a charrette is basically just a planning meeting.
It's a planning meeting, and the deliverables actually show what their assets can be. Like one of the downtown stores, they showed it as a restaurant.
Mhm.
So they're moving along nicely, I think.
And then I want to hit one more place. So Carlisle Finishing, of course, we all read is going to be closing. I know you're industry focused. What do you think is the impact with Carlisle Finishing closing now? It's been a staple for so long.
Well, from a couple of angles. I just want to say it's very unfortunate anytime we lose a company, whether it's 500 employees or 10 employees. It's very unfortunate, especially with a legacy company like Carlisle Finishing. I think the impact as far as tax revenues, it is going to impact the county getting that revenue. I think the employees who want to continue working, I think they will be fine. We have enough companies here in the area who are hiring. As a matter of fact, I know at least 2 companies went there recently to talk to employees about coming to work for them. So yes, it's gonna have an impact.
I have one final question, but I think TJ, I'll let you.
I was going to ask John, say if we try to get people to move here, they want to buy a home. All right, they're paying, that you can go rent a place $700-800 a month. And sometimes you can buy a place a whole lot cheaper. Tell them what's the requirements of owning your own home here.
Right now, interest rates are low. The cost of living, and y'all touched on it, I think a couple of weeks ago, the cost of living in Union compared to other places is crazy. So I wanted to say it when you said something, how much money you can make in Union. Well, maybe I don't make as much in Union, but if the cost of living is 25%, but I'm making 50%, you're coming out better in whole. But as far as buying a home, you have USDA home product, which are 100% financed, and you do have to have some credit established. There was a very famous credit and money financial guru today who posted something about not needing a credit score. He got some feedback on that. It's not positive. Not for me. I just read it. Kept scrolling. You do need some established credit, but there are smaller down payment options, and right now with rates low, it does make home ownership much more affordable a lot of times than renting. It gives you a lot more pride when it's mine.
Well, the first time I ever bought.
I want to say one thing before he gets off. Elise Ashby is saying encourage folks to register to vote, of course, and to take the census, because money is tied to the census. If you're not counted,
Federal funding.
that federal
The government
funding.
don't give the money away for as much as we can.
And I don't work for the census anymore, but the average is $15,000 per person would be lost if you're not counted.
Wow.
So that's
That's
a
a
lot
big
of
number.
money.
I got my five.
You got your
I
5.
got my five.
But John, you left one thing out about what you need to get like a home. You need your #1 real estate agent, guys. I just have to throw that in there. Come and talk to your guy. I'm ready to play for you. All right, just throw that in there. There we go. Yeah.
Speaking on that about buying a home, the first time I went and bought a home, the first thing they was told, you don't have no credit. Okay, then I went to a different loan officer. She said, I had a pay on the side. She said, how much you pay for that? I said, I paid by the month. She said, that's credit. Go talk to her. Pays Plus. She used that. And she also said, what about Union? You pay light bill, you pay them on time. She made me go to a light bill place, Union County or City of Union. She did that. She also cell phone. I had a cell phone. She said, "You pay that on time?" She took everything that I had, and before I left there to buy that home, I had credit like $700.
Alternative underwriting, when they start looking at bills and things like that you're paying that
That's
don't
a
get
good
reported to
point.
credit.
I
Yeah.
hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, she helped me get my first home like that, you know. But first thing you hear, you don't have credit, but they'll send me a car before I could blink my eyes, you know. But a home is more important.
My final question before we get ready to wrap it up is, and I know all you can chime in on this question as well, like from a business standpoint, is there anything, a business that when you look at the brain here, for some reason, whether it's financial or whatever, that we dropped the ball on that would have really helped Union grow even more? Is there any business that we missed out on that we could have brought in?
Well, I'll just comment. I don't know that we missed out on any businesses that we could have brought here. I think we missed a huge opportunity when we bypassed the interstate coming through here. And that's, you know, that was way before you guys' time. But it took us out of the game for a lot of really good projects that could have come here. So that's kind of my response to that.
Let's go out on a positive note, though. I don't want to go out there. Just tell us something that's good that happened to us, you know.
Actually, you know, I kind of mentioned this to begin with when I opened up, is that we have had a tremendous spout or spurt of growth in industrial development. We just have. I mean, you just got to look around. Over $600 million in capital investment, well over 1,000 jobs created, and there are jobs for people who want to work. So I think that's what I'm proudest of, is that we've gotten that staple, you know, kind of in the ground. It's the other pieces, you know, that we're working on now that we need to perfect.
Right, and let's not forget Spartanburg Community College.
Yes.
And the university, of course. We talked about the university.
And the one thing that, Andrena, Main Street Junction, Andrena and I both served on that board. And this is not bragging. We fought for that.
Brag a little bit.
We fought, the two of us fought for that. We actually did. It's a long story. But it is a heart, the heart. Just say you have heart disease and you're capitated. Well, this is Main Street Junction. We need something else to keep it going.
We do.
We really do. But it's right now, it's the heartbeat. It brings in a lot of outside revenue. It has, and it just still is, matter of fact. Yeah. So we just need other projects like that, and Union one day would be great. I'm hoping I'll be around. It don't be too long.
Well, Ms. Powell-Baker, Ms. Hunter, and Mr. Gregory, we want to thank you guys for coming in and joining us.
Thank you for inviting
Thank
us.
We absolutely enjoyed it. For anybody that missed this episode, you can be sure to catch it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Amazon Music, Pandora Radio, and also on my website, carlosksmith.com.
And can we thank you guys also for having this forum? This is excellent, and I hope you guys will pull in some more emerging leaders
Absolutely.
to do what you guys are doing. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Make these young people and older people have a conscience. I think that's what we need. If you can, they're gonna talk the talk, they got to walk the walk. And
Walk talks.
yeah, and that's and we have done that. Like in my bio, Tamika, are we off now?
No, we're still on.
Oh God. One of she texted me this morning, and I was really busy trying to get some stuff done for the OED. Now I'll give you an example. In Santa, there is a park called Renaissance Community Park. It was a dump. It was actually where the county had put dumpsters and they put deer remains in, and I have property right across the street. I used to live right across the street. And I was in my house, and it would get so bad during deer seasons because they would bring the carcasses and throw it over, and it would just be horrible. So I knew that property belonged to the the school system, because the old school used to sit on it. And I told my husband, I said, you know, the school board has changed 2 or 3 times. They don't even know that property exists. I went through my community, all these folks have passed away at this point. People actually left with little money in their wills when they died. It was a dump. When I tell you it was a dump, I did a petition, went to the school board, they deeded us the property, and if you ride down Sandtuck Drive, where Carlisle Sandtuck School Road sits, you'll see a park.
Unfortunately, we are now off because it ended.
Well, okay, good, but what I wanted to tell you, that came from me not wanting to smell deer guts. Okay?
TJ ain't gonna say that. I think he might have helped me. That's
But I'm just saying,
Which one was it?
what I'm saying to you, the idea, it came from me thinking my mom, my husband, all of us, we actually got out and hauled wood, limbs off the property. But if you drive down Sandtuck Drive, you'll see a ball field, a shed, and during the summer, actually there was an event last weekend there. That property had, no one did anything. It would have been overgrown. Well, I don't know what would have happened to it, but that was an idea that when I was telling you to go to the city council, go to the school board, go to your representatives if you have an idea, and let them know this is what I want to do, and I'm going to get on the agenda, and that's how it takes off.
Have you guys thought about actually bringing in a project team of people who, for example, the boat ramp? We know that's coming.
Right.
The drawings are out there. It's been engineered, but you really can't tell what it looks like from those. But have you thought about bringing in people to talk about projects that are getting ready to open, or projects that are getting ready to have the ribbon cut on, and just talk about how that happened? I'm just thinking out
But
loud.
you know, the project with the boat ramp, I believe that's gonna bang out. That's gonna bring in so much because it's gonna open that river up.
But it would also help people understand how that project started, what happened in between, and how it got to a point where it's about to open now. Because people don't understand how projects happen.
Right.
They think they just happen.
Yeah.
And let them
It
see
takes
what
10
they
years to be another
Yeah,
success.
we've been talking about this boat ramp since before I came to the development board in 2009. So economic development is a marathon, it is not a sprint. And it just
absolutely
takes
is.
a very long time,
And
so,
you have so many agencies involved with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think your listeners might benefit from a
No.
project discussion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because
just
most
a thought.
people actually think, well, it's either the county supervisor or they'll blame one entity when to make a project
Well,
work.
Pat started us back because this is really good.
Oh, gosh. But really,
We don't have to stop on the hour.
yeah,
We'll
no,
get it.
but
You know, it's
really what Andrena just said is just absolutely is true, because people just think that one person can just move mountains. And most of the time, when a person is taking a lot of flack or that office, they probably don't have anything to do with the project to start with.
And-
Go ahead.
And even just to say, for example, the USC Union, you have to call it a project because it started back before 2008, that growth
Yeah.
plan. And so it's important to see how that flowed out. The community college being here, that project was tied to recruitment of Gaston. That's why that building, that facility is here. It was an incentive for Gaston, but federal money went into it, state money, county money, city money, community college money. So, but it took a while for that project to happen, and I'm sure people don't know that's how it started, or that's why it's here.
The park and
So-
Lockhart, you gotta say something about that since you
The
restarted.
park or the trail?
The trail.
I know it was trail.
Oh, the trail project in Lockhart, a very long time coming. You know, there are a lot of federal restrictions because Lockhart Power is we're a power company. So it took probably 2 years just to get through the federal regulations to get permission to even have it. And so fast forward, almost year 6, it opened up in 2018.
Yeah.
I guess, but a lot of people were involved in that project.
You know, Denver, Colorado comes to mind when you talk about kind of the outdoors, you know, type of tourism that they get. You know, everybody there is a little healthier. healthier because they have so many walking trails, they have so many outdoor type of activities. And I'm like, I know my mom and I, you have a dog, right?
No.
You used to have a dog?
You just have a sign that says beware of dogs. You do have a dog.
Yeah, he's a killer too.
You gotta get ready to roll.
So we were saying about, going walking, there are no sidewalks where we live at in Santa. And so everybody in the community, quite a few people are walking. And we're like, my mom had talked about, what if we kind of got the Santa folks together here and we just made our own park, a walking park.
Well, you know what, Tamika? I'm actually talking to a gentleman with SCPRT, the Renaissance Park.
Yes.
It already has a natural walking trail around it. So we're trying to find some money
To get it paid.
to pave it.
Wow. I have two ideas
It
here.
just so happens I have a little money and I know people, so maybe I can join you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then why don't you
That's
get some hard money?
That's what I'm working
I
on.
just talking about that and using this agricultural type thing. You have people that likes that ninja type training.
Oh,
Thought about one of those trails can be designed for them. And then like these guys, we have so many shootings, that go on. And I'm like, it's because they have a natural innate ability to do something, but don't know how to channel it. So I was like, maybe we need to just get a paintball type thing, like the big buck, for these little guys out here and say, look, we're gonna do an airsoft season or nothing.
That is very interesting.
Like some of them trails y'all talking about.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're
I
right.
think we're officially done.
Okay.
Well,
This
guys,
is great.
that-
Did you guys enjoy it? Was it fun?
Yeah.
Y'all, we got the jewels.
So as we get ready to close it out, I want to thank everybody again and thank you to my panel for another great episode. And as I said earlier, if you missed the live video, make sure you come back on and watch it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Amazon Music, Pandora Radio. And also thank you to Faces by Cynthia for sponsoring this episode. So once again, this has been Union. It's Time to Talk, episode 5. Till next time, keep chasing your dreams. Thank you for listening.